Hey traders, in this video, today's recap, I'm going to share with you how I paired Anchored VWAP with volume profile to get 3 super awesome winning trades pre-market. So the first trade was a 127 point win, second one was an 89 point win, and the third one was a 54 point win, all before the New York session even opened up. Doesn't always happen like this, but today, killer fire trades pairing Anchored VWAP and session volume profile. So first thing I'm going to do is show you how I mark these levels. So I have value area high, point of control, and value area low that I mark off from the previous session. So I have this indicator here that I'm going to turn on so you can see, and I move it to the 1 minute chart, and I'll mark off the value area high, the point of control, which is that middle dotted line on the indicator, and then the value area low that's this 70% where 70% of price action stayed within, and those are often points for support, resistance, and targets, and that's how I used it today. So the first trade I took, I entered off of, I had this Anchored VWAP at the previous high, so this was the high of the session, since it opened up way down here and it started to trend up. So that was the high before it had that retracement. Once it broke above that Anchored VWAP with a close above, I entered a long and I targeted point of control. So on that trade, I just trailed my stop loss all the way up there, got 127 points out of that trade. And then on the next one, this Anchored VWAP, I'm going to go ahead and delete this line so there's not too much going on, not too much confusion. This next trade, the purple Anchored VWAP, is from the London Open. So London Open, Anchored VWAP there. Price action was trending up. It continued to reject at this value area high. So that was kind of the region where there was the high of the day at that time. So it was rejecting there, third time rejected, and it was holding below this New York Anchored VWAP. So that's when I entered the short. If I spread this price action out here, you can see this level right here. It was support, support, and then eventually it started to break down. I could see that there was weakness there. So I entered a short and I targeted this value area low. And that's pretty much exactly where it bounced, and it continued higher from there. So that was an 89 point trade. And then I immediately reversed into long because it really had a good bounce, and it regained this session Anchored VWAP or session VWAP, the overnight long-term VWAP. Once it had that really strong buy up off of the value area low and regained control above VWAP, that's when I entered a long and I got out at point of control. So this is right around when the New York market opened, New York session. Originally, I was targeting value area high, but I had my trailing stop loss set at point of control, so I would at least get that much once the session started to get closer to opening, and that's where I got stopped out on my trailing stop loss. So got 51 points out of that trade. So if you add all 3 of those together, I was well in the money before the New York session even opened, and all I did was pair those tools, the session volume profile and Anchored VWAP, and it was money today.